Are we working? Let's see here. Yep. Notification just went out. Pause this. See if anybody comes in here. Juan, how's it going? You are first. Big Radio Network, what's up? Let's get some people in here and we'll talk about something, right? Craig Miller, Merry Christmas. Juan Avalos, Big Rig Radio Network. I've got 8 people in here. Just a couple. Get some people in here. I know Coach was getting ready to wrap it up, and this video gave me an idea. Something that I've been kind of thinking about, anyways. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Trucker Seals. Yo, what's up? BB Trucking. 10th. You did beat Daniel. Daniel's been kind of MIA. I think he's at home dealing with Christmas stuff. What kind of drama going on? RD. Ain't no drama today. Unless somebody wants to swap me. But, you know, time will tell if that happens. bigrigceo's in the house. Merry Christmas, Norlord. Thank you, George. McCready. Or McCready. Is it McCready or McCready? We're going to talk about a few things. All right. If we get some more people in here, we'll start talking. You know, I watch shows like Jeffrey Like and Big Rig Radio Network and Trucker's Coach. There's a lot of people that call in. And it's good to ask questions. Let me put this out here. It's good to ask questions, right? Either Steve, I answer both. Oh, okay. You're probably, you know, my last name gets past, you know, it gets misspoke also. Let's see, Big Rig CEO, enter to win a crapper. Big Rig CEO is giving away a porta potty, porta john thing that you can put in your truck that all the other 2 YouTubers are swearing by. So go to his channel, Big Rig, go ahead and put your email up and find out how to enter. So Daniel, you did make it home for Christmas. Good deal, man. Good deal. BB, looking good, Snarlord. Did you make up your own meal plans or get them from a site? I just made it up as I went. What I did, BB Trucking, is I talked to the people that were losing weight. Michael Williams, a couple other people, and just kind of just stopped eating certain foods, you know. And, you know, and this, you know, we can get into that after I put my point out. We can get into the health stuff because this is definitely a hard time of year to stay on track. You know what I mean? And I've done fairly good about that. So, you know, but anyways, OTR for Christmas. So is that what you want? How you speak horns? You'll be surprised. People mess up the horns there, RD. Jason, what's up? Okay, so anybody who's ever asked me steps to become an owner-operator, usually I ask them a question back. And that's kind of how it has to be. Whenever you ask an expert or someone for advice, they shouldn't give you a straight answer right off the bat. They should ask you a question to dive deeper into the question, right? And the question that I always ask, what do you guys think is the most important question when it comes to regards of being an owner-operator? Rick LP, what's up? Cameron? Nope. You're just saying you are. Exactly, George. There it is. You ask them why they want to be an owner operator. You can give them the hows and whens and whats, all you want. And here's all right. Why do you want to be an owner operator? Okay. And that is the biggest question that you need to answer. It's more important than cents per mile, cost per mile, what truck to get, what division of trucking you want to get. The most important question is why. And if you can't give an informed answer to that question, then you still need to answer that question. All right. And some sort of freedom, Rick LP. Well, it depends on what your vision of freedom is, Rick. Okay, so when I ask someone, why do you want to become an owner operator? They go, well, I'm tired of my dispatcher. He's really bad for me. And I go, well, can't you switch dispatchers? Are you happy at the company besides your dispatcher? Well, I don't know. When you get that, it's kind of you're starting something from a thin line, right? And you have to know what your goals are, and you have to know what your limitations are. If your limitation is you have to be home every weekend or home every 3 or 4 days, I get guys at Schneider will go, hey, Steve, I want to be a lease operator with an SFI truck, but I want to be home every 2 or 3 days. Can that happen? And I would flat out tell them, no. Where do you live? Actually, that'd be the first question I ask back. Where do you live? Well, I live in Ohio. Okay, in Ohio, it might be possible, but it's going to be a challenge. If they say they live in Phoenix, I'll tell them, I don't think it's going to be a good idea. And the most important question. Okay, here's another example, right? So let's say you're an owner operator, you're big bad Billy Big Rigger, right? And you're in the spot market, and you go up to someone and say, hey, what is the hot lane right now? What is the best place to run? That's not the question you want to ask. The question you want to ask is, how did you find the best areas to run? So you have to know the hows and the whys to kind of progress forward, right? Right. bigrigceo, becoming a business owner will not solve your problems, it will increase them. That is absolutely true. If you have money management issues, you're going to have bigger money management issues. If you have trouble, if you're living, okay, so here's the thing. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, and it's because of money management issues, becoming a lease op or owner op is definitely not an idea that you want to follow, right? And if you really, really want to, you have to solve that problem. You have to solve problems so they don't become problems later. So, Juan says because he wants to make the money. BB Truck in Missouri. Missouri is a good area for freight. Kansas City market can be kind of lame at times, but St. Louis, Joplin, Neosho area can be really good. Curious George the trucker, what's up, dude? That's the biggest misconception about being an operator. In my honest opinion, the reason so many fail, they think they could be at home all the time once they get their own truck. RD, yeah, and well, that's the thing. They equate the freedom of being able to. You see that especially with self dispatch companies like Schneider, Landstar, and the people don't know how to separate the difference between choosing your own freight and having freedom to not working. If you ask me, if you're a person that is living off the government, living off welfare, I don't call that, you don't have to have a job. I don't call that freedom. I really don't. Because the government literally can decide how much you eat, what car you drive, what house you can live in, and how much food, right? And and to me that's not freedom, right? Now, there's this impression that owner operators are rolling in cash. That is not the case. If you gross, you may be one of the top owner operators in your field and be grossing $350,000 in a year, but what's your net, right? But people only concentrate on that gross number, so they go, "Oh, I'd make $350,000 a year." No, no, you don't. $350,000 travels through your hands a year. How much of that do you get to keep? Daniel Adami asks, so Snorlord, why did you want to become an owner operator? Well, I'll tell you why. I wanted to be a business owner of some capacity. I looked at opening a music store, like a record store. I looked at opening a restaurant. I looked at opening a bar. I um, looked at like starting a record label. I looked at a mobile welding service. I looked at doing local courier. And this is before Uber and all that, right? And when I got into trucking, I had no intentions of being an owner operator. And then, as time progressed, and I got to be a pretty decent driver and a pretty decent trainer, and saw the mistakes that my dad had made, I was ready to make my own mistakes for myself. But I only chose a self-dispatch company, and I only bought a truck that was affordable, that wouldn't take my house if I had to get the truck repossessed, right? Would not put me into bankruptcy. So I had to set a few things up, right? And I could have set it up way better. I was on a thin line when I started, but I knew in some kind of capacity I wanted to own a business. And it was about the freedom. But what I found is that even though I wasn't a slave to a high lease payment, I was still what I call a slave to the business. And so there goes that perception, right? So if you look at it like you're a slave, you're not going to think of that as a positive thing, right? So a mindset had to change, and that's when my business started to do a lot better. This year will mark the biggest amount that I've made in 1 year as an owner operator at the end of this year. And that's when all the rates are low and gloom and doom and companies are shutting down and all that kind of stuff. And it hasn't been easy. There's a little bit of debt that I got to pay off, right? So we're not perfect, but we're still doing better than we've had in the last 4 or 5 years. Let's see. Let's go over some comments because he loves it. Daniel, who's Curious George? Who are you? I want to wear sunglasses and drink coffee. Okay. All right, Pale Rider. Barbecue Trucker, what's up? Daniel, I'm making Pozzoli tomorrow, and my sister's making tamales. My mom will be cooking it too. Yes, people, what's your net? Right? Little Vine Coach makes fun of me for that. Dino Dami, because I told him about the two types of people that work for the man and those who are the man. Right. Big Rig CEO, put it all in perspective. And, you know, and he is the guy that's responsible for me thinking about it. And I credit Oprah for me being able to become an owner operator. It was an Oprah magazine article my wife read. A certain YouTube trucker once claimed that they made $750,000. I don't remember that, Pale Rider. Are you talking about the pallet people, Pale Rider? But James wants his credit, so I'm going to give him credit. And I've given him credit before. Team Tiny's freaked out by my picture. There's nothing going on. Spoopy says I'm doing it to keep a little more of the money I'm making out here rather than giving it to a truck company. There you go, Spoopy. So if I work a weekend, it's for me. If I want to go into New York City, it's for me. If I want to go into Chicago, it's for me. Under my terms, right? If I want to go home, it's for me. It's up to me, right? And there's very few companies that you can do that if you want to sign on with somebody. But most of the time, you got to have your own authority to do that. Now, you still have work. You still have to deal with paperwork. You still have to deal with compliance. You still have to deal with DOT inspections. You still have to deal with insurance. You still have to deal with, truck payments. You still have to deal with maintenance. You still have to deal with everything else that a company does for you. So you have to be willing to know what headaches that you want to tackle. Now, to me, it's not as stressful to worry about a truck payment and a repair payment. It's not as stressful to deal with that as it would be for a dispatcher to tell me you got a 6 a.m. delivery in New York City. Be there on time, right? And to me, that would be more stressful. Or, I just got a text from a friend of mine who said that he was supposed to be home in Michigan on the 28th. He told his company that, and they're sending him to LA. So he's not too happy right now. And that is the reason why I make a truck payment. That is the reason why I'm willing to make a little bit less than a company driver at times. That is why I'm willing to deal with the stresses of paperwork and accounting and everything else. And so it goes back to that original root question. Why? If you want to become an owner operator simply because you don't get along with the dispatcher, well, that's not going to be good enough for you to get through the hard times that you're going to face. Okay. Well, I'll go with some more questions. So Spoopy brings up a good point. So when I go home, I go home. As long as, but I have to have a personal goal, right? I have to have a set goal that I make every week. And it's not really a goal per much as a budget. Like, the business has to make X amount per week, X amount per month, X amount per quarter in order to pay all the bills. And a lot of people are concentrating too much on the what. Okay, how do I do this? What do I need to look at? What kind of truck should I buy? What company should I go with? Well, what are your wants? What do you want out of the company? What are your goals? Do you want to stay out 3 months at a time and be told where to go but make the most money possible? Then you got to pick one of those companies that's good about that. Do you want to self-dispatch yourself and not have to tell anybody when you're going home? Then you have to look at the company that best fits for you for that. So you have to do your due diligence, and I think that calling on a YouTube show completely unprepared, and I'm not just talking about one, I'm talking about all of them, right? And Kevin Rutherford as well. And and yeah, while it should be a part of your homework, there's a lot of people that I'm hearing call that own multiple trucks that don't know how to do their IFTA. They don't know how to do certain things, and it's like and here's the thing: I don't fault the drivers for that, because a lot of these companies prey on the fact that you don't know what you're doing. They prey on the fact that you have no business sense. They prey on the fact that you want the big money, right? Or the better loads. There are companies that will tell you, hey, we know you're a company driver, but if you join our lease side, you'll get first choice of the loads. You can grab any load from a company driver that you want. We'll treat you right. And reality is all you're doing is being a company driver, paying all the bills, which is why laws like California AB5 is coming out, is to kind of get a hold of that kind of stuff. Not the pallet swingers. How long did it take you to grow your beard that long? 2 years. There's a video I put up on Facebook. It's like a little Christmas video, and I was fat, and my beard was all like miscombobulated and short. Merry Christmas, says Big Rig CEO. Well, I gotta go. I'm picking up the most important little person in my life, and that's my son. Well, tell your son, Merry Christmas, Daniel. You can't put a price on living on your own terms. Right, Big Rig CEO. And so when I hear a lot of people say, well, it's not worth the extra hassle, the extra effort, if you're only going to make barely above what a company driver makes, then you have to look at the reasons why, and I said there's nothing wrong with being a company driver. You could be perfectly happy with the right company. I was happy at my company for 6 years. However, I wanted more. I wanted to be the man, not work for the man. Now, here's the other thing. So when you own a business, guess what? Now you've got write-offs. Now you got deductions. Now you got corporate tax abilities, right? And that gives you a fair advantage. For example, per diem. Company drivers can't do that anymore. Owner-operators still can. Company drivers can't write off their cell phone plan. Owner-operators can. You see where I'm getting at that? I pay over $30,000 a year in fuel, but that's a deduction. So when it comes to my actual net number, that's my taxable income, it's a lot lower than what most company drivers make. So that means I'm paying less taxes. Right. Jeff brings up a good point, but they forget the 5-year mark as a company driver. They have nothing but their last paycheck. Owner operator has an asset he can sell. Exactly. But yeah, you got responsibilities, right? I like the OTJB approach. Lower your costs and run easy. Spooby, that is the best way, because the lower your expenses, the less stress you're going to have. Simply put, if you have I know guys with $9,000 to $10,000 a month when they combine their home and business expenses. There is no way I would survive if my bills were that high. It's a wrap. It's done, because I'm not that good. Are there people making that? Absolutely. I know people that are leased on with mega carriers that are paying all the bills, including health insurance, live in way nicer homes, and have way nicer cars than I do. And they're making it work. But are they home? Do they have the freedom that they think they have? I don't think so. Gotta go. My ride home is here. Merry Christmas. Oh, Pale Rider, you're gonna make it home. Awesome. Thank you. Good deal. You want my bills? No, Big Rig. My bills aren't even that high, says RD. Yep. But Roscoe's right. The lower your cost, the less stress you have. The more you can pay yourself. If you have, now here's the thing though, you got to manage your money. So if you have a $2,000 truck pay, $2,000 a month truck payment, and you get it refinanced, go down to $1,000. Well, you still need to put away the other $1,000. You know, people might see it as a raise, but in reality, all that's doing is giving you more liquid cash for when the big breakdown happens. Because I don't care what truck you drive, I don't care what brand it is, I don't care if it's a Kenworth, Peterbilt, Packard, Detroit, Freightliner, Mack, International, Volvo. I don't, doesn't matter. It's going to break down. It is going to cost you money. I am at, you guys want some year-end numbers? Do some year-end numbers here. I'll find it. All right. You guys want some year-end numbers? We're not going to give all the year-end numbers. So, think of the question, why do you want to become an owner-operator when I read you these numbers, okay? If you're a driver that makes, what's the average company rate right now? Like, how many cents per mile is the average company paying right now? 40 cents, you think? You thought it's actually an old picture from Schneider. It's actually a screenshot of an old picture from a video. I tried out this angle, right, of me getting in and out of the truck, and I totally showed ass crack. So I didn't upload that video clip. So, because I know you guys don't want to see that. 34 cents a mile. We'll do 34 cents a mile, right? Beginning wage, right? So if you do 0.34 times 2,500 miles a week, that's $850 a week. Times 52, if you work all weeks, that's $44,200, right? My truck fuel alone, this is for all you new guys that are thinking about becoming an owner-operator, okay? And you don't know why yet. This is the what's that you gotta think about. So far this year, at the end of today, I have spent 34,891 cents a mile, this year in fuel, coming out to 41 cents a mile. Schneider new hires get 42, so let's do that. 42. So 0.42 times 2,500 miles. But Steve, I could do more than 2,500 miles a week. That's an average, because you're going to have a week where you get 1,500. You're going to have a week where you get 3,000. 1050 times 52, $54,000 a year, right? So my fuel alone costs what a company driver makes, pretty much, 41 cents a mile. So if I want to give myself a raise, I have to find a way to lower that number. Do you see how that works? DEF fuel, a penny per mile, but the big number is $1,040. Repairs, that's the other big one. What do you think my repairs are? Someone take a guess of what my repairs are for the year. This is maintenance and repair. So PMs, tires are a different category. Jason, I'll get to that question in a minute. That's a good question. About Christmas? Yes, Danielle, I appreciate that. Tell your son I said hi and Merry Christmas. $6,500? Nope. Higher. George is pretty close. George is almost on the money. $11,441, not including tires. If you include tires, I've bought 2 tires this year, one for the trailer and one for the tractor. And that came out to $539. And no, they're not recaps. One was new. And I'm not 100% sure that number is accurate because I could have sworn I bought 3 tires this year. But 2 are used. And one of the used ones is way better than the new one I bought. Those I forget what brand it was, but there's a cheap brand that TA sells for trailer tires, and it lasted like 6 months. I have an alignment issue again on the trailer. All right, Big Rig CEO, Merry Christmas to you. So that comes out to 13 cents a mile. So let's do the math. Now, how much do you guys think I spent on truck payments? You got that number? And then I'll get to Jason Perry's question. Les D is in the house. It's good to see him here because he was recently in the hospital. I hope you're feeling better, my friend Les. 19,000. Clyde, you're close. My truck payment is $17,440, rounding. So 17,440 plus 11,441 plus 539 equals $29,420 in truck costs when it comes to truck payment, maintenance, and repair. So you divide that by 52 weeks. That's $565 a week. Okay. Now, the truck payment comes out to 20 cents a mile of the miles I've driven. Okay, so that's the thing with Truck Pro. Okay. So far this year, I've driven a total of 85,188 miles. And I know some of you guys have probably gotten close to double that. Okay. So my repair is at 13 cents a mile. And tires are less than a penny per mile, but that's going to go up. Next year, I'm probably going to need tires. By the end of 2020, I'm going to need new tires, probably all the way around, like all 18. So let's go to Jason's question. There was a drive-by shooting that happened in my neighborhood a few houses down from my house. Dang, Daniel. Merry Christmas, Les. All right, so Jason asked, when you figure your maintenance cost, do you add in a estimated loss of revenue to do a downtime with it? No, but that's a good idea, Jason. What I do is a worst case scenario. So I try to have a month's worth of all my bills in the bank at all times. That's when I tell you guys you have to have, you know, if you have 10,000 in the bank, you have to look at it as zero. Okay. It may sound ludicrous for some of you guys, but it's the truth, right? It's the truth. And that's where money management comes in. If you don't know how to manage your money and you see $10,000, hey, I go out and buy that new car. Hey, I go out and buy that new, you know, 4-wheeler or whatever. Or that new Harley, right? And then your truck has a major breakdown. Next thing you know, if you have $9,000 worth of bills and truck payments and everything else to deal with at home, you're done. So again, if you ask the question why, you have to know that answer before you start worrying about the other stuff. TJ says, Merry Christmas. That is the best quote if you're out here. Which one? No, trailer payment is. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, Chuck for Life. You're paying attention. Awesome. My trailer payment for the year. Now, mind you, these numbers don't have December's truck and trailer payments yet. The way I put in Truck and Pro, I put all my expenses at the very end of the month, except for fuel. I do that for each load. And by the way, if you want to use Truck and Pro, you use code SA10. You will get a discount, and I get a kickback. And I highly recommend it, right? Let's see, trailer so far this year, $6,872. So let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about all you people renting trailers, okay? See, this is a numbers game, right? So 6872. Let's add December's payment, 624. That comes out to $74.96, all right? If you divide that by 52 weeks, that comes out to $144 a week, okay? So if you're at a company paying more than $145 a week for a trailer, and it's a used, beat-up trailer, you're getting ripped off. Add the trailer tire expense, it might be down to $155 a week, right? Now, how would I do these numbers? So let's say you're at Landstar and you're making an extra 7% for the trailer. Well, that money can gross more than what the trailer payment is. So they actually did the math at Landstar for me. They showed me that my net per mile would go up and my gross per mile, it's like my cost per mile would not fluctuate that much with the trailer. So unless you're doing a lot of drop and hook, you know, and you're at a company where you rent trailer, but you have the option to buy a trailer, I would buy a trailer. Now at Landstar, it depends. If you're doing a lot of the FedEx or the drop and hook stuff, you know, by all means, use but have that option available if you want to have your own trailer. If your reserve is 10K or 50K, you have to look at it as if there's zero in the bank. Right, that's true, TK or TJ. I'm sorry. That's the code I use. Good deal, Daniel. What about your health insurance, George? I am not paying for my health insurance. My wife has a really good job, and she has the health insurance. That's primarily the reason why I don't have the high cost a lot of people do. But with that being said, it is possible to pay for your own health insurance and be out here as an owner-op. But I'm not the guy to ask how to do that. So I had a bilateral pulmonary embolism 3 weeks ago. Should be dead, so be thankful, folks. BB Trucking, I'm glad you're alive, and I'm glad that you have the outlook of gratitude. That's awesome. Are you the only work this week? No, Spoopy, I'm going out Thursday. I was on the phone with Jeff as I clicked on 2 loads. And they're my normal runs, but they're paying about 20% higher than they normally do. They're both heavy loads, but which is kind of nice, I guess, for the DF system, because I've been running light loads like for the last 2 weeks, except for the last load I took into Springfield. Of course, that was only 150 miles. So, what's my gross, Jeff? I don't know if I want to put that number out there. Because, all right, well, I'll put that number out here. I'm transparent. So let's do some math here. My gross for the year, this isn't booked rate. This is to the truck, is 115. Normally I average about 100. Except for my first 2 years at Landstar, I couldn't tell you because I was that guy that wasn't keeping track of his numbers. I was that guy that was doing just kind of willy-nilly, as James puts it, and wasn't keeping track of my numbers, and I couldn't even tell you what my insurance cost back then. I couldn't tell you what my insurance cost. I don't remember what my ELD cost. I did not keep track of my numbers at all. And I regret every second of it. Just got notification, says Thomas. You got good doctors, Les. Good deal, man. Watch Tumor Tales. He's fighting brain tumor with alternative therapy like keto. Excellent little life coach. If a Landstar guy grosses $200,000, a trailer at 7% would bring him in $14,000. And my trailer cost me $68,000, so $6,800. So you take that 14 minus 68. Is that how you would do that, Jeff? Right? 14,000 minus, we'll just round up to 7 for maintenance and stuff. That's 7,000. I don't know why you need a calculator for that. So it's like having a $7,000 raise. You hear that, Triple T? That's a $7,000 raise at Landstar if you get your own trailer. So you'd have to look at the costs. And again, it depends on how you built your business model over at Landstar. You know, do you do a lot of drop and hook? Do you do dedicated? Do you do power only? And you can still do power only with your own trailer. You just be able to let the company that you're picking their trailer up let you drop yours, and then you're going to have to find something that's round trip, which I found that the round trip money wasn't great at Landstar. Plus the trailer asset, exactly. Like, okay, so trailers retain their value about 20, would you say, Jeff, 20% more than a truck does? And right now, according to the state of Missouri, my trailer is worth more than my truck. Crazy, isn't it? And if you think about it, trailer is what makes you money. I could buy 10 trailers and charge somebody 5% of the revenue for each of those trailers. Easy money. Easy money. My best friend that was retired from Yellow Freight and the guy I always do Talladega with passed away this morning. Oh, Thomas Wilson, I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences, man. My condolences. 5-year-old dry van is around $20K. And I paid $30K for mine, right? So that's how much value. Like, I could probably sell my trailer for $25 right now. And the payoff's about $20. But yeah, we're sorry to hear that, Thomas Wilson. By the way, I'm not drinking coffee. I'm drinking tea. My Iron Maiden mug. So I wanted to put this question out there because I get asked all the time, I want to become an owner-operator. What should I do? Well, then I ask you why. Why do you want to become an owner-operator? And if you can't answer that question completely or honestly, then you have to look inside yourself. See, that's the thing. In order to improve yourself, you have to look at yourself. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. A lot of people aren't willing to own up to their own mistakes or their own weaknesses. And that's me. I mean, I've done that first 2 years. I didn't track my numbers. I didn't keep track of anything. And it wasn't until the second year when the truck was really costing me a lot of money that I was like, you know what? I need to keep track of this. How much money did I waste by not managing it? How much better could I have run the Landstar load board if I had kept track of everything? All I was going by was my deposit slips. And as long as I'm north of so much per mile, man, I'm good, right? No, not so much. I'm bobtail back to his house. Well, that's good, Thomas, that you're going to be there. But it's and Thomas is benefiting from the fact he's an owner operator now, and he's able to just go home, right? To deal with stuff like that, because what a lot of people don't realize is that, okay, well, we're worried about downtime for breakdowns, like what Jason Perry pointed out. However, what about funerals? What about illnesses? What about your own illness? What about if you're a dumbass and you fall down in the walk and break your leg? What if you're that guy? Because I was that guy. What if you have a heart attack or one of these other things? There are more than just truck issues or hitting a deer or something like that can keep you from running for a month or 2 months or 3 months. How do you handle that? If you're the sole breadwinner and you've got to make X amount of dollars per month to break even, and you don't have any reserves, man, that's a thin line. That would stress me out. Way out. A lot of owner operators, says Jeff, go out by their paycheck. And I was that guy. I was that guy for a long time, for 2.5 years. It wasn't until I went to Schneider and started seeing how consistency worked better. And Jeff taught me you need to track your numbers. You need to look at everything. You need to get everything down to the cents per mile. He did a lot of videos about Trucking Pro at that time. And now he promotes Trucking Office, which is another good tool. But whether it be that or a spreadsheet or a cost calculator or something, pen and paper. I mean, do something. You can't go by just your deposits, because every person I've talked to that does that has not made it. They might have made it so far, but that's the key word, so far. Big Rig Radio Network. I saw him in a couple of live feeds, Jeff. He's alive, so he's doing okay. Oh, has he not answered your phone? I think he said he lost his phone, Jeff. He may not know where his phone is. So, must have been one heck of a party. If you haven't done so, go check out Tears of a Dragon by Bruce Dickinson. Oh, I love that song. Now, we can talk about hell stuff if you guys want, but I don't want to come across like I'm preachy, like I'm a know-it-all. Like, I don't want to be one of them guys. But what I do want to point out is that there's a lot of mistakes that I have made. There's a lot of weaknesses that I have and still have. And so everything that I tell you guys is by experience, not because I know it all, not because I read it in a book, not because I learned it from, watching a YouTube video. I learned it by doing it and trying it and failing at it. That's how you learn. You would like to have your own trailer, Truck for Life. Well, the first step you need to do, Truck for Life, is decide what you want to do with your truck. If you want to keep your truck, I'd work on either getting it refinanced, because getting your own plate for that truck is going to be a challenge. Now, if you could sign on with the company, if Jeff is offering it, The company can supply the plate. That's a huge deal, right? So then you got to work on the trailer, right? So you look at the percentage of what it would cost, just like Landstar, you look at percentage loss of what it would take to have that trailer. But you can buy trailers for a good price. I think Roscoe paid 17 for his. Jeff just said that a used trailer can go for 20K. So if you got good credit, getting a 20K loan should be no problem. Now, I will say this. It was easier for me to get a new trailer than it was a used trailer. At the time that I bought my trailer, there was almost two of us that liked trucking with the red line trailer on the side. There was almost two of us that had those. Roscoe called me and said, hey, this guy at Scientific has two of these trailers that came from Redline. They're Manic trailers, and they want 17.5 a piece for them. I called the sales guy. We wheeled and dealed, and I got him for the same price Roscoe got his. And Roscoe, it was a done deal. And so I told the guy, I said, I needed no money down because at that time, literally a week before, I had just had a $4,000 repair. That's when my clutch went out. And I didn't have enough reserves, and I just dealt with the clutch. I just dealt with getting my own IRP plate, which was a portion plate, that was like $1,900, so $2,000. So $2,000 plus $4,000, that was $6,000 that was depleted from me. But I wanted to go to like trucking, so I was kind of leery about a used trailer. So I thought, you know what? If you buy a $17,000 trailer and you have to put $4,000 into trailer tires on it, and maybe another $2,000 in brakes, you're almost at a new trailer price, anyways. So Scientific came back and said, "Well, good news is you're approved, but we need $4,000 down for the trailer." And I didn't have that. So I said, "What can I do for no money down?" "Well, we can get a new one for no money down." Now I'm paying out the yin yang for interest, but I was willing to take that expense. So, boom, I had a new trailer. I have an SFI truck that I'm thinking of refinancing, not a new truck. Smoothie, I highly, 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 highly recommend that. Everybody I know that's done that has done real well with that. As long as you keep the same work. See, here's the thing. Okay, so let's say you're a guy at Schneider Finance and you're paying that high payment. And after a year, you're like, you know what? This sucks. So you go out and get your own truck. So your payments a month go from $4,000 a month to $2,000 a month. Naturally, people don't work as hard. Now your costs aren't as high, so you don't have to hustle as much, right? But here's how I look at it. And this is a newly acquired look. Again, I've had my issues. You look at it like, okay, now instead of having to run like crazy just to break even, now I can run just a hair less, just a tiny bit, but still kind of keep up the same work ethic and put that money aside. And that way, as the months go on, I got that money in the bank. Now I've got less pressure if something goes wrong with either the truck or the family or something at home. So that lower payment doesn't mean you have to work less. It just means that you have less stress. And I will add, there are really a lot of great professional drivers out there that will make rookie mistakes at times, and there's nothing wrong with rookie mistakes either, as long as you learn from it. Les, you ain't kidding, man. My first year at Landstar, I felt like I was back in trucking school. I mean, I was making dumb mistakes, and I was delivering some areas that really challenged my backing and my forwarding and everything else. Right, and the less stress you have, the less likely you are to make business decisions based off emotional reactions. The less stress you have means the better your relationships are at home. The less stress you have means the better decisions you'll make for yourself and for your business. And then at the end of the day, you can reward yourself with something nice, right? Either a new car or a guitar, but you got to have your act together. You got to have your money in the right places. You can't be living large before you're large, right? You work too good to spend money. Yeah. Sorry, guys. You work too much to spend money. I hear you, man. And so I want to make more next year, right? On the gross side and on the net side. And how can I get $34,000 lower next year on fuel? How can I get the maintenance repair down next year? How can I get now things that are beyond my control are truck and trailer payment. But truck washes, I don't have to do as many of them. I spent $282 in truck washes this year, which is kind of low compared to some people. Supplies. Supplies is a general anything from buying carpets for the truck, glass cleaner, antifreeze oil, tools, water. Water is a tax deduction, boys and girls. It's an expense. Things of that nature. This is where I need to kind of bring things down a little bit. That's at $2,041. SiriusXM, $82. That would be higher, but I negotiated with SiriusXM to give me a discounted rate for a full year. Scales. Can you guys guess how much I spent in cat scales this year? I'm glad you bought lunch. I'm glad you bought lunch in Fort Wayne. I am glad I bought you lunch in Fort Wayne. Yeah, me too. Maybe the broker side, Snowlord. You spent $169 washing your truck. What'd you do? $100, Milky or Mike? I'm sorry, Mike. I don't have my glasses on. $762 on cat scales. You're both wrong. $438. Now, that number would be higher, but I'm a little bit pickier. For the first 6 months, actually that was last year. First 6 months, I tried to stay under 38,000 pounds, right? But as time went on, I realized that's dumb. Can't do that. So I was strategic on when I took a heavy load. I'm not taking a heavy load through the mountains of Pennsylvania on the toll road, but I will take a 45,000 pound load straight across Indiana on I-70. $438.50. And that would probably be higher had I not gotten the right way scale system, onboard scale system. Can you guys guess what I paid in tolls so far this year? Guess the number of tolls. How long would right way take to pay for itself? Well, let's see. I spent $100, I don't even remember what I paid for them, to be honest with you. Well, I know that, well, scales just went up, so 12. So 12 times 10 is $120. So at least 20 scales, right? 9 million. My toll over tax is the closest. My toll bill for the year is $1,277.06. So basically, we'll round it up to $1,300. Now, I know guys that do that in 1 month because they run nothing but Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and all that, right? That is mostly 99% Oklahoma and Illinois. There's some Pennsylvania in there, but not much. Jeff. All right, here's something you guys don't think of. ATM fees. How many of you get cash out of the ATM? What do you think my ATM fees are this year? None? No. Laundry fees? Well, that comes out of the ATM. I don't usually. I think I've done laundry twice on the road this year. And once was because I did it at the truck stop night before I went home because our washer was down. Our washer was down at home. You can cash at Walmart. Okay, so that's one of the things I'm learning over tax. So far this year on the receipt side is $59. I still need to get all the fees added up from the bank because the way the banks do it, it's like the ATM machine charges you 3 or 4, and then the bank charges you another 2. Now, ways to combat that. At Landstar, I used to get a cash advance off my fuel card, which that fee was cheaper than the ATM fee. Over tax, if you can make it to Walmart, you get cash back whenever you make a purchase. That's another way to avoid fees. But sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you're like, oh man, I forgot about that toll coming up and I don't have any cash on me, so you go to ATM. And then another way to do it is through cash advances off your fuel card. So when I was at Schneider, I would literally not pay myself from my bank accounts. I would just get a cash advance when I got fuel and then just lived off of that money. Use debit card everywhere? No. What I've thought about doing is using a credit card everywhere and then just paying that bill at the end of the month, which makes it easier, which makes accounting easier. So that's one of the things I'm working on. That's one of the things I want to improve this year. So, because sometimes if I spend too much on the credit card and then I don't pay that monthly payment, you get behind. Get cash back. That is absolutely true. So these are the things I'm still learning. I'm no expert out here. I'm just telling you how I've screwed up. We could easily call this Snorlord Screwing Up channel. Want to learn how to screw something up? Talk to me. But the bottom line is these numbers are not important. They're not important. The bottom line is what's important to you is why do you want to become an owner-operator? Why do you want to be a business owner? Why do you want to open up that bakery in BFE, Egypt, And what goals need to be met? What bills does that business have to pay? And if you got a lot of expenses at home, it's going to be a hard road. It's not impossible, but it's definitely a harder road. So you have to have a certain amount of dedication. You have to have a certain amount of love. You have to have a certain amount of the ability to go through the hard times. And so the less stress you can take off of yourself, the better. Now, on the same token, maybe that stress will teach you how to be an extra good owner-operator. these Schneider finance guys complain about their truck payments and people make fun of them for it, right? But I guarantee you that if I went back to Schneider and I ran side by side next to Big Rig CEO, he's going to make more money than me because he knows how to use the system better than me because he's had to. His costs are higher than mine. So he would know how to run that. He knows how to run that. He's running that system better than I ever did. You know, and it's like, one time when I was considering Schneider Finance Truck, Jeff actually said, well, it's going to teach you how to run different, and that was exactly true. They were charging for a cash advance at the fuel desk, dang, all these extra fees, no wonder the truck stops emerging, LOL, ripping off the driver big time. Well, it's not the truck stops, Les, it's the card companies. Comdata has fee after fee after fee. I think I probably spent like $10 to $15 a week in card fees the way Landstar and Comdata paid you. So if you take $10 a week, that's 10 times, that's $520 a year times 10,000 trucks if they're all averaging about the same. So 520 times 10,000 of their trucks. Ladies and gentlemen, that's $5,200,000 that Comdata is making on fees, potentially. That's not the truck stops, that's the card companies. That's true, Big Rig. Team Tiny, so what's the answer? Pay cash or use your own credit card? It just depends. If you can get cash without the ATM fees, what I'm looking to do is probably just to, I used to make fun of the guy that would swipe his card for a $2 cup of coffee. But now I'm seeing the value of that, because if you have one card that does nothing but, while you're out on the road, whether it be a meal, coffee, or whatever, that is not tied directly to the business, like something that's not really a tax deduction, put that all on one card, and then that way it's itemized, and then also it helps you keep track of how much you're spending. And then everything else is on a business credit card, and so you've got everything itemized right then and there. So I'm still learning to streamline. Jeffrey Like is the master of streamlining. He manages 9 trucks paperwork better than some guys do 2 or 3 trucks, because he knows how to streamline. He's always been, let's simplify and streamline, and I'm trying to learn from that. So Team Tiny, it just depends on what works best for you. So there are different approaches to that. It just depends. Now, if I start doing that, let's say I use a credit card that gives me cash back, as long as I pay it at the end of the month, then everything is itemized. I never have to get a cash advance. And I save $60 a year in ATM fees, right? So that's money in the pocket plus the cash back. Now, you still have to have cash on the road. Every now and then you got to float a 20 to the forklift driver, or you might have a toll that the pass didn't work for. Or you might have to buy a strap or a load lock off of somebody and you're not at the truck stop. Because the shipper you're at requires 5 straps and you only got 4. So you go up to every driver and say, hey, I'll give you $20. You still need cash on hand for that. But that's where you go to Walmart or hit your bank before you leave the house. So, Smoothie, the right question is, are you happy with what you've accomplished in 2019? We all have room for improvement in 2020, but that isn't a question that can be answered today. If it's a debit card, it's still cash. I put all my spending money in one account, right? So I'm looking for ideas. Tell me how I can streamline all that stuff, right? Put the answer in the comments, not in these comments, but the ones after the live feed's done. Um, I'll have to find the notebook, Spooby, of every year I write down what my goals are for the next year. Not New Year's resolutions, but goals. And I'll have to look at that list to see how much I've accomplished on that. Big Rich, do you people ever sleep? Well, Big Rich, according to some YouTubers, if you're watching this video, you have the potential to fall asleep. Pigtail, what's up? So, anyways, we've been at this for over an hour. And I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. If you're out on the road, I want to give a shout out to two YouTubers, right? One is Down Under Trucker. He wanted me to shout out his channel. Check him out. He's a very good friend of mine. He's kind of like, he's like an uncle to our kids. He's a good dude. Down Under Trucker. And then also check out Kevin and Ollie's channel. He did a really good vlog today. He was calling me. He was stressed out a little bit because of dealing with this fuel tank issue. And he said he had this idea for a vlog. He had all the footage and everything. He said, dude, here's a song for that. And he used it, and it's an awesome vlog. I love it. So go check that out. So everybody, Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. And if you're out on the road, be safe. Enjoy the truck stops. The truck stops are pretty much empty this week. And, make that money. And I hope that you can position yourself to make more money this year, next year than you did this year. So at any rate, be good to each other, be good to yourselves, and most importantly, answer the question why. See ya.